right now. Great rise, great rise, great rise, great rise on the lights, beloved. You know who this is. You know what it is. It is Queen Goddess, or I am Queen Goddess, the King Advocate, and it is Melanated Monday. So you know what to do. Get on in here so we can have our conversation, our adult conversation, like we have just about every Monday at 8 o'clock here live on Facebook, as well as YouTube channel Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. If you are not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Queen Goddess is God is Godis. Queen Goddess, the King Advocate on YouTube. If you would please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that good stuff, I would so greatly appreciate it. So I am waiting for you and you to come on in so we can start our conversation tonight, which is pretty intense. Hopefully, parents will show up. This is primarily for parents, but I think it's something that everybody should know, even if you are coming with your children. If people are coming in 18 or under, whatever. I didn't make this for children because I don't want it to get tagged as something that's inappropriate for children. But if you are a parent and you have children, um, I think it's safe for you to bring them. It's definitely something that needs to be communicated with your children. So come on in. We're going to start our conversation pretty soon. The topic, as you already know, is a question: is are we raising predatory bait? Are we raising predatory bait? Um, I'll tell you the whole reason for that conversation as soon as y'all come on in here. So as you come in, I would greatly appreciate it if you let me know who it is, because you know I like to greet you appropriately. Okay, I like to call you by name, um, and be grateful. Well, I'm already grateful that you're here. If you would, I'm going to ask that you do hit share. Okay, share this video. It is very important. Share this video, please, please. If you've never shared a video of mine ever before in your life, share this video. It is going to affect many, many, sadly, many people. So please share this video. Again, tonight's topic asks the question: are we raising predatory bait? And I will explain to you what that means as soon as you all get in here. In the meantime, I will do my quick advertisement as I do every week. So, for those of you who are grown enough and adult enough to understand what this is, this is a promotion for Sloppy Kisses Oral Massage Oil, which can be found at Etsy.com. That's what this QR code is, this one right here. If you grab hold of that real quick, if you take a picture of that QR code, it will take you to Etsy.com. It will allow you to take advantage of my store, if you will, for Sloppy Kisses Oral Massage Oil. Okay. But again, as you come in, please, please, please hit your share button. If you are on Facebook, hit your share button and share this video. Also, if you are on YouTube, you do the same. You hit the share button and the like button, and be sure to comment. I have put over here in YouTube a um, a link to a website, which I will also share with Facebook a little bit later on. Hopefully, somebody will type that in for me. But we will we will get started with this pretty shortly. What's going on, G Walker? Yeah, I appreciate you, loved one, for being here. It's like people are coming in and going out whatever. I say I don't know if I'm having issues with notifications going out, but folks that know me know what time I'm here. So those who get it, get it. Those who don't will eventually. But it's all good. I'm really hoping that more people will come in. But I'm gonna wait maybe one more minute. Let me see what time is it. One more minute because it's already 8:04. So I will wait one more minute, and then I will get started with whomever is here. Okay. Well, now it's 8:05. So at 8:06 we'll start. Again, for those of you who are just joining or who will be joining tonight's discussion, ask the question: are we raising predatory bait? Okay. Um, I'm going to start. So, the reason for this conversation is because of something that I saw on, I don't remember if it was, I think it was on TikTok. There was an interview with a sexual predator, and he basically was explaining his mentality when it comes to choosing his prey. And I felt that it was very necessary for us to have this conversation um, in whole. And of course, this being Melanated Monday, a lot for us to get a true overstanding of why we need to be doing some different things and why we need to be having these conversations. Okay. Um, so I'm just going to start. One of the things that he says that predators look for, I guess, I don't know if it was him in particular, but predators in particular look for in their prey are children that demonstrate some level of low self esteem. So, children who see themselves or don't see any value in themselves. Um, I don't know if they give off some type of, I'll just say energy for the lack of a better word, but predators look for children who have no or very low self esteem, self value. Another characteristic they look for are children who demonstrate obedience or compliance. So, what that says to them is that they will do what they're told. To a predator, a child who is obedient or shows compliance um, is baked to them because it says that if I tell this person to do or whatever I tell them to do, they're going to do it. That's what they're looking for. Someone that they can easily control and manipulate. They also look for children who have mental disabilities. We know that we hear a lot of the stories about um, people with mental disabilities being abused in so many different ways, so many different aspects and facilities, be it at home or in other facilities where there is a care provider where they are abused a lot. So that's another characteristic they look for. Any type of vulnerability they look for. And they also look for children who are either loners, those are the ones that are always by themselves, they tend to be by themselves. The ones that are troubled, so they're always getting into something, be it in school, in the community, at home. They're considered the troublemakers, if you will, and those that are neglected. What's going on, Rodrigo? Thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. Those are some of the aspects as well. Um, they also look for any types of challenges, and this is where we're going to get into it, okay? Any type of challenge, and the challenge is within the household. So they're looking for children who are, um, I won't say victims of, but in the middle of divorce, parents who are divorced or divorcing. If there is a financial deficit, they live in poverty, they're poor, whatever, If they are foster children, if there are any typesness, if a child is just out and about, is in the street, or going from one facility or shelter after another, that is a positive characteristic, a positive trait to a predator, because it shows that there is no stability. So they look for instability. They look for households where the parent, one or both, are uninvolved. So they're looking for parents who are uninvolved in their children's lives, who are uninvolved in their activities. They look for children who have a missing or an absent parent. This is why I talk about so much the necessity for Black people, Black families in particular, to make sure, do whatever is necessary to tighten up the households. Because, and it's not to say that other households or other families or ethnicities don't have these issues, because they do. I talk specifically to my people, okay? But this goes to anybody. So this is not specific necessarily, but it is so important for the child's sake that they grow up in a household where the parents are involved. And I don't mean that they just live in the household. I don't mean that one parent drops off money or food or clothing every month, 2 weeks, or whatever, takes the kid out every Sunday for ice cream. I don't mean that. I mean actively, all the time, involved, where if you see the child, if they're not amongst other children just playing, you see the parent. But even if you see the child and other children playing, you see an adult or adults with them actively, continuously, is important, because these predators are looking for any reason basically to take your place. I'm gonna say that again. Predators are looking for any reason to take the place of a parent and or guardian, so they can step in and do what they want. Okay? There are a list of things, a list of ways that these predators take control, if you will, of our kids. And I'm going to go over that as well. Another factor that is high on the list are children, kids, young adults, whatever, that are alcohol drinkers, or if they're smokers. So it doesn't even matter what they're smoking. If they smoke, period, they're on the list. If they're doing drugs, of course, they're on the list, because they're viewed as being risk takers, and risk takers tend to be less supervised, which makes them easy targets. So if you have children that are smokers, you have children that are drinkers, you have children that are heavy partiers, they just kicking it, whatever it is, check it. You have predators that are looking for their type. Okay, it doesn't matter how old they are, they're looking for their type. And don't think because your child is 6, 7, 10, 12 years old and you can see what they're doing in the household, that they're not smoking or drinking or whatever, because when they leave your door, they could be doing all of that. Okay. That means that there needs to be more involvement, more active involvement with the parents and their children, because these predators are watching. They are watching the household. Predators are stalkers. They stalk everything and everybody. They don't just watch the child. So they're not just sitting at the park or sitting at the school or across the street from the school or at the game depot or whatever. They stalk the entire family, the whole household. They need to see where their threats are. They need to know how the children move. They need to know if there's a man in the house. They need to know if the parents are divorcing, if they're arguing, what their financial status is. Do they go to church? They study. Predators study the whole family dynamic or the lack thereof. I bet you didn't know that. They study the whole family dynamic. What's going on, Robin? Thank you, love, for being here. I appreciate you. This is why, again, we need to have more active involvement with our children. We need to be having conversations that most people don't have. Um, I can't answer that text message, but a lot needs to be happening that is not. Like I said, these predators are watching, they are studying, they know more about our families, our children than we do because we're not paying attention. Give me 1 second because I do have to respond to that. Won't take long. And there we have it. Okay, so again, for those of you who are just joining me, I appreciate you. And what we're talking about, as the title states, are we raising predatory bait? And the reason I pose it as a question is because most people, when you talk about how you're raising your kids or how we're raising our kids, we look at it as, well, I raised my kid to go to church. Well, I raised my children to be respectful to our elders. I raised my children to always say please and thank you. I raised them to, whatever it is, however we believe we're raising our kids. And, that's fine. There's nothing taken away from that. But are we raising them in a way that gives them self-confidence? Are we raising them in a way that allows them to feel comfortable with telling us everything? You hear what I said? Everything, not just anything, but everything. That too is part of the problem. That too is another way that these predators are able to get at our kids because they develop a sense of trust with them. They develop a relationship with them that says, you can tell me anything, but what goes on between you and I is secret and sacred between you and I, so you can't tell. I'm just trying to told you. Okay. Um, Another thing that I didn't think of until today, as far as the predators, because we, like I said, we know predators are after the children, but predators are also after single parents. Did you know that? Goes back to the household dynamic. If a predator recognizes that a child is in a single parent home, preferably when a child is in a single parent home and the father is absent. When the father is absent, it makes it much more easy for a predator to sneak his way into the life and household of that child. What's going on, Charles? Thanks for being here, loved one. I appreciate you. Hear what I say. I'm going to repeat it. When the father is absent from the household, it makes it easier for a predator to get at the child because the predator will get at the single mother because the mother is seen to be in some type of need. She either needs some financial help, she needs someone to be a male role model to her child. She needs someone to help her take her children to or from school or activities, to tutor them, to give them advice from a man's point of view, from a male's point of view, or even from a female's point of view. So don't think that there are not female predators because they exist too. Okay, I'm just talking right now when there's an absence of the man. Okay, um, so the predator doesn't just look at the child as an individual entity. the predator looks at the child's family. The whole family dynamic becomes a victim to predatory behavior. Coco, what's going on, loved one? I see you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Please know this is serious. Again, the whole conversation is being brought up because of what a known predator has stated they look for in their victim, what they look for in their potential prey. There are certain things that they look for, and I'm going to go back over them for those of you who are just coming in. Predators look for certain traits in children. These are the things that will determine whether or not they will even approach the child. Okay, the first one was the child having low self-esteem, not having a sense of worth, not having a sense of high value. That's number one on the list, low self-esteem. The other is being very obedient or showing a compliant personality. If the child shows that he or she is compliant, they'll do whatever they're told to do, and they're showing that they will do whatever they're told to do by whomever tells them. They look for that. That's a weakness to a predator. Of course, they thrive on people who have any type of mental disability. They thrive on those who are vulnerable at any time. We'll say vulnerable / gullible. They'll believe anything. They'll take this candy, it'll make you strong. That's some bullshit. But if they think that that's real, they become prey. They look for children who are loners. They're always by themselves, or they prefer to be by themselves, or those who are considered troublemakers, or those who are considered trouble. Something's going on with them. That's why they're by themselves, which usually goes back to self-esteem. All these things are connected. Or if they are in some way neglected, it doesn't have to be a physical neglect. If they express that there is any type of emotional neglect, that is also key. If they show that they are unloved or underloved, not being shown enough attention, being compared to other siblings or other kids, not getting the same thing other kids get, whatever it is, any type of neglect, that is also on the list. If there is an inactive or an absent parent, that is on the list. They're looking at the whole home life. They want to see the stability or the instability of the home. One of the things this predator said out loud, he says, if there is a father in the house, I don't bother. Shall I repeat that for those of you in the back? A predator says that if there is a father present in the child's life, he is actively there, he is visible, the predator does not bother with that child. That's not a child a predator would choose, because the predator doesn't want to have to come to possible blows with the father. Do you all see where I'm going? Do you see where I'm going here? Why it's so important for the man's presence, the father's presence, to be known, felt, seen, and heard in your child's life, whether you get along with their mother or not. It is important for the child to have that involvement, and it needs to be seen. It needs to be known, felt, and heard that there's a man around this child. Don't fuck with it. I'm just saying. These are words from a predator, okay? These are not just my words. A predator says this If there is a father in the household, we don't mess with the children. We only mess with the children who are in single parent households where there is an absent male figure. This is from a male predator, and there are more male predators than there are female predators, but they both exist. There are female predators. So I don't want you to think that they're not, just because she's a woman, that she doesn't have the capability of being a predator. Because, oh, yes, she does. Okay. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything that you would like to voice on the phone, feel free to give me a call, 770-906-5271, 770-906-5271. I will also reiterate, children that have parents that are divorced or divorcing, if they live in poverty, if they are foster children, if they've been adopted, whatever, if there's any illness, either with the child or anyone in the family, if anyone is using drugs, or if the child is just homeless, period, anything that is considered a challenge, these are things that predators look for. Any type of instability are valid factors for a predator to step in. Okay. Predators also, again, reiterating, predators also look for the single parent. It's not just the child who is the victim. The parent, usually the single mother, also becomes a victim of the predator. But here's the thing, the mother becomes an emotional victim of the predator, where the child becomes the emotional and physical victim of the child, because the predator basically uses the mother as a weapon, as a way to, I won't say a weapon, but as a way to get in. Because if the mother accepts him, he got to be all good. If the mother says, this man is all good, he's helped me pay these bills, he's making sure that my son or daughter gets to and from school when I can't, he's packing their lunches, he or she or whatever is packing their lunches, is doing things, showing up at their events, and very supportive, doing all these types of things, that is a way to earn the trust. So what will happen if indeed the child, which most often does not occur, but if indeed a child does say, mommy, this person touched me, I didn't like it, the mother is more likely to defend the predator, because they have developed a trust. The predator has developed a trust with the mother to say, I would never do anything to hurt your child. I love your child as much as I do, just like they're my own, whatever. There's a trust built. Otherwise, she would not leave her son or daughter with them, right? So because that trust is built, there's not a second thought that perhaps this predator, or I'm sorry, perhaps this person is a predator and using me to get to my child. There's no thought of that. So the door is left wide open. You have full access to everything here. Sabat, what's going on, loved one? Appreciate you for being here. There, you have full access to what's in my household. What's in my household? My children are in my household. I trust you with my children. You're saying, I trust you with my life. And when you do that, you make it easy for them to become prey. For those of you who are just joining, again, we're talking about raising our children to be predatory bait. And again, what that means is that we have a way that we raise our kids. We raise them with values and morals, expectations. We raise them, to be thoughtful and loving and kind and respectful and all that. But are we raising them in a way that allows predators to come in? Are we raising them basically to be emotionally independent? Are we raising them to fend for themselves? We tend to get to a point where we are a little bit selfish. be it deliberately or not. There's some selfishness that comes in, and the child is basically left alone, left to defend themselves. And once that happens, this is when predator mode kicks in. It becomes active because the child is looking for something that the parent or parents don't give them. So I'm going to give you a lot of things. One of the other things that we do as parents, and our parents did us the same way when we have those sex talks, the birds and the bees, and we give the body parts little cute little names like the little wee wee and the tatas, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, stop that. So if you have young children, they need to know that these are breasts, that they're a boy, that they have penis and scrotum. If they're a girl, she has a vulva, vagina, whatever, there's an anus, all that. They need to know what the real anatomy terms are, because if they don't, and those parts are touched, and they describe it as a wee wee or whatever little cute little nickname is assigned to it by the predator, or I'm sorry, by you, um, how are they going to describe it for real that they've been touched inappropriately? There's no anatomy definition that says wee wee or tata. There's nothing there. Wink wink. What is that? It doesn't exist. Another quote from a sexual predator says, when a child knows nothing about sex, or a child who knows nothing about sex, that is my next victim. A child who knows nothing about sex is my next victim. This is a quote from a sexual predator. What I'm telling you is coming from the mouths of the predators. This is what they're telling you. So they're telling you what they're doing. This man was he had an interview. He was on TikTok or whatever it was. He stated, this is what we look for. If you catch it, you need to watch it. But this is why I'm bringing it to you, just in case you don't. There are certain factors that they look for in order to decide whether or not that child is going to be their victim. And one of the main ones that I keep reiterating is the absenteeism of the father. They state, if there is a man, a father in the household, actively in the child's life, the predator will skip over that child because they do not want to bump heads with the father. They don't want to have any confrontation with that masculine. They don't want your child. So they'll say your child is safe from a predator because the daddy is there. Now that's some shit. That's some shit. So if you don't take heed to that, brothers, you need to. I'm just saying. So like I said, one of the other thing was to make sure that you're talking to your children properly about sex. And another problem that we've grown up on, what happens in my household stays in my household. We grew up on that. That's a no. That's also something that works to the benefit of the predator. It's called a culture of silence, meaning they're not going to tell. So if they grew up with what happens here stays here, you don't tell nobody my business. If they grew up with that in their mind, that's a law. And they are confronted with a potential predator, that becomes law with the predator. This is just between you and I. This is our little secret. You can't tell anybody. To them, it's first nature. Oh, I know about that rule. Yeah, we do that at home. We don't tell what goes on in the household either. Yeah, so if you raping me repeatedly, I'm not gonna say nothing because I know about that. That's not okay. Especially when you have was the if I wrote the percentage. I don't even think I wrote the percentage down. But you have such a high percentage of these predators being family members. What are they supposed to do? They won't tell anybody. They have to live with this, right? So let me school you a little bit more, if I may. May I? I shall. When they're not allowed to tell verbally, they tell outwardly, they tell in their behavior, they tell as they grow up because they will either repeat the cycle or accept what has been done to them as it's okay to do to and with somebody else. It's okay to do that. Most likely, they'll repeat the behavior in order to stop this cycle of silence. Stop teaching your kids to be quiet. Teach them to speak up. Teach them, better yet, give them an environment where they feel safe enough to talk to you, both mother and father, about everything. They must feel safe in their environment to talk to mother and father about everything. What's going on, Keisha? I see you. Appreciate you. If a child grows up in a space where they are not allowed to speak on what happens to them, how they feel, what's going on, what they think the sky looks like, how many numbers they can count up to, whatever it is. If they don't feel comfortable enough to tell you everything, you can know for certain something they're not going to tell you. What's going on, Nate? Thank you, love, for being here. I appreciate you. If they can't tell you basic things, they're not going to tell you important things. They're not going to tell you the necessities. They're not going to tell you, Mom, my brother, your son, he touched me. Mom, uh, your husband, my dad, he touched me. Dad, uh, your wife, my mother, she touched me. They're not going to say it. That's all right, love. That's acceptable. But we have to get out of okaying the culture of silence. We have to get out of telling them, don't you say nothing. You better not tell. This doesn't just stay in the household. Trust me, it doesn't just stay in the household. That becomes a law that they live with. They carry that into everything. You better not tell. I better not tell. So if a predator does anything to them or a potential predator does something to them, they're not going to tell you. What does that mean? That means the predator is going to be successful continuously abusing your child. They build up a level of trust with the children. You have to understand also when a child feels emotionally neglected, if they feel that if they've not been hugged, if they don't get those hugs the way they need it, they don't get that kiss on the cheek the way they need it, if they don't get that pat on the head, whatever they need to feel emotionally whole, if they don't get that and the predator gives that to them, there is a high likelihood that the child will attach him or herself emotionally to their abuser because they no longer see it or they do not see it as being abused. They see it as them getting what they need from a stranger. So they will welcome these gestures from a predator because it doesn't come across threatening. They're getting from them what they need, what they desire. They didn't have to ask the predator to love them. They didn't have to ask the predator to show them affection and appreciation, to give them a hug, to say, "You're doing a great job," to take them to the ballpark, to buy them ice cream, to do their hair. They didn't have to ask the predator to do that. So now the child has become emotionally attached to their abuser. So, guess what? Since the abuser is doing all of the things that the child wants, guess who becomes the abuser? The parent. Because you have neglected the child of these things that the abuser is giving them. The parent becomes the abuser. Something to think about. I'll have a glass of water on that thought. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, and you would like to call in, feel free to do so. 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271. Again, for those of you who are just joining me, tonight's discussion asks the question, are we raising predatory bait? Are we raising our children to be victims, basically? Are we setting our children up for predatory advances? Are we causing them to be victims? 770-906-5271. So I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to give you the 16, they call them child lures. So there's 16 ways that predators lure children to them. And again, the very first one right out the gate, like I said, is affection. They give them affection. They're showing them love with the hugs, the kisses, the pats on the back, whatever. They're doing these things. So affection is number one. The second is assistance. Assistance helping the child, also the parent, as we just said. Predators not only go directly to the children, but they go to the single parent. They help, they assist single parents as a way to get into the household, as a way to build up the trust so that that parent will leave the child with the predator. So they offer their assistance. Authority is the third. Authority being the predator can be someone of authority. This can be a police officer, a lawyer, a judge, a crossing guard, a political figure, anybody with whom society says you're supposed to listen to and obey. Okay? Anybody considered an authority figure is authority. Okay, this is how a predator lures children to them, by being the so-called authority. Okay. The next is bribery. We know about that. Little girl, you want a cookie? I got these cookies, or I've got this cake here. I'm selling cake, but I'll give it to you for free. If you just come with me, I'll give you this cookie. If you just tell me what your mommy's name is, I'll give you this piece of candy. Or if you just smile for me, or just touch my hand and give me a big hug, I'll give you this bag of candy. Whatever, bribery. Okay. The next is games. So you have adults that like to play games, video games, active games, football, catch, whatever. They may always be there, or playing with the children, or offer to play with them. So if there's, for example, being at the playground, the predator that is at the playground and offers to play catch with the little boy or girl who's by themselves, or they just want to involve themselves in the play. Will do, Nate. They just want to involve themselves in the play activity with the child. That's their game. The hero. They play the hero. Oh, you saved my doll from being run over by the truck. Whatever. You saved the ball from being squashed in the street. That type of thing. They play the hero. Or if another child is picking on them at the park or whatever, and the predator, and I'm doing that because he's not necessarily a predator at that time, okay, but he or she sees a child being bullied, and he or she steps in and defends the child from the other child, then that makes them the hero. This is how they weave themselves into the child's lives. The other would be a job. So it could be a person offering your child an opportunity to make some money. Would you like to make $5? Well, then you can come over to my house and mow my lawn or pick my flowers, pull the weeds, walk the dog, something like that. They give them a job. They give them a sense of self-esteem, because that's on the list of things they look for. Low self-esteem. I'm going to give you a job. I'm going to give you an opportunity to make some money. I'm going to give you a way to do some things on your own. This is the way that they secure that. Thank you, love, Obadiah. Thank you, love, one. I appreciate you. Will do. So that's one other. The next is threats or weapons. So they will threaten the child. Well, if you don't come over here and give me a hug, then I'm going to do something to you, or I'm going to whoop you, or I'm going to go tell your mother that you did blah, 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 or, whatever it is. They're threatening the child verbally, or they may even use weapons. They may literally hit the child with something, be it a belt, be it their hands, whatever. They are physically causing them some harm, or they could just really even just be emotionally causing them harm. A threat is a threat. A child's going to process it emotionally first. You're going to hurt me. It's going to be that's an emotional threat. So that's another way. The next way is drugs. The use of drugs, offering the child drugs. This will make you feel better. Just try just one. I'll even do it with you. Okay, we'll do it together. We'll see how this works. This will just make you see little funny things, little stars. Will change some colors for you. Make it sound cute. Like it's all good. But doggone well, this child gonna be out their mind, knocked out, sleep, whatever, and under the influence and unable to resist. So drugs is the next. The next after that, pets. Children love pets. Children love animals. So for a predator to be walking a dog or cat that probably ain't even theirs, they done picked up a stray. Don't think it don't happen. They've picked up a stray animal. They're in the park with it and playing with it and just, petting it. And of course, the children, oh, that's such a cute dog, or that's such a cute cat. Can I play with it? Of course you can, little boy, little girl. Quick lure. Kids love animals. The next one would be an emergency. So the predator would pretend as though they need the child's help. I'm sorry, little girl. I don't mean to bother you. I know you live around this area, right? Can you please help me? Can you show me how to get you, and not Sesame Street, but can you help me some kind of way, something in that matter. There's an emergency. My mom's sick. I got to hurry up and get to her. I'm trying to get this ice cream to her before it melts. I really need your help. Can you help me? So the child's like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I can help you. Yay. Okay. That's the emergency. The next would be name recognition. So I told you, these predators study these children. They study them. They study their whole household. So of course they're going to have to learn what the child's name is. So they keep showing up at the same place. They're listening to, the interaction with the other kids or whatever, or adults talk to the child, or whatever. They're hearing what the child's name is. So next time they see them, or whenever they decide to approach them, they will call them by their name. They will say their name as if they've known that child. Okay, so name recognition is another lure, because of course a child is going to say, how do you know my name? So if a stranger calls you, you're sitting at the park on the bench and you're on a swing or whatnot, and somebody calls you by your name, how do you know my name? You're going to go to them. First of all, how do you know my name? And since you know my name, then you must know me. Even though I don't know you, perhaps you know my mother or father. So you must be safe because you call me by name and I know I didn't tell you. So either you're magical or you know somebody that I trust. Okay. The next is the companion, the playmate. Like I said, they become very friendly with the child. This usually happens at the permission of an adult, but it can also happen without an adult knowing. So if there is a predator at a child's event, at the park, at the playground, whatever, and this adult takes upon themselves to, like I said, be their companion, their playmate, somebody they can have fun with, they can kick it with, or even if the parent gives permission, gives access to their child because of the trust factor, then the predator is the one that will take them to the ball games, take them roller skating, take them to the amusement parks, do all these fun things with them, build up the trust. This is the homie, this is the person I have fun with. Yeah, I want to kick it with so and so, the predator, because we have fun. So that's how they get in there as well as being their playmate. Fame and ego. So either the predator is somebody that's famous, or there is a promise to introduce the child, to somebody that's famous. Well, yeah, I grew up with Michael Jordan, and if you're good, then maybe one day I'll take you to meet him. You know damn well you don't know Michael Jordan at all. Okay, not the real baller, you know what I'm saying? But they'll make up a name that's probably common. Michael Jordan's a common name. They'll make up a name to a child and make it seem as though, well, this person knows somebody famous. Ooh, they're cool or whatever. I get to meet somebody famous, blah blah blah. So that's the lure. The next one, of course, is online. This is probably like the most common. You have, I think, up to 2020, I think up to 2020, 2021, there are at least 500,000 online predators. At least 500,000 online predators. And it's easy to do that because you don't see them, right? Most times you don't see them. You create identities online. Nobody knows who you are. They don't have to. You interact via text or via emoji faces. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. People are contouring themselves, look completely different. That's another, I got a problem with that. But people are putting on so much makeup and wigs and completely falsifying who and what they are in order to lure children. Y'all better pay attention to that. I'm just saying, contouring. You have people who have made themselves to be, or to appear to be, completely different races just by the use of makeup. This is male and female. They make themselves look like children just by using makeup. I'm just trying to told you. Okay, so you got to be careful with that. That interaction online builds up a relationship, and once they've built that bond, it becomes a little tight. Just saying. And then finally, pornography. So this is when the perpetrator, if you will, predator, begins to send them these dick pics and tit pics and whatever, or they'll start requesting them, or they'll say, well, let's watch a movie together. So they may send videos to the children. Let's watch this and let's talk about it. And what do you think about this, that, and other? They'll start questioning them about what they're looking at, just having involved conversations. They want to see how the child thinks, what they think is nasty, what they think is okay, what they might be interested in, these types of things. So that's 16 lures. If you like for me to, I'm definitely going to give you the information for all of this. The website that you can look on, and it's posted over here on YouTube. So please take note. But the website, if somebody on Facebook would please post this for me, I'll be most grateful, is BJS, like Boy James Son, .OJP, like orange juice Paul, OJP.gov. So it's BJS.OJP.gov. BJS.OJP.gov. That website will give you statistics on everything that I'm telling you about. It will give you things to look for, how these predators think, what they've said. It's really crazy. Okay. But again, this is coming straight from their mouths. This is what they're telling you they're doing. The worst thing a parent can do is ignore the information a child gives, or ignore the information a child abuser gives. Again, the information I'm sharing with you is coming from the mouths of predators. I'm not making it up. Okay. This is what they're saying. This is how they're looking for our children. They're looking for any way to replace the parent. Anything you are not giving your children, a predator will. Trust that. If you are not giving your children accolades, hugs, kisses, high fives, candy, whatever it is, you're not showing attention, affection, whatever they're not getting at home that they need, they will get it from a predator. The predator will replace you. I will say that again. The predator will replace you, because in the mind of the child is receiving everything they need and want from this stranger, and you as the parent aren't giving them that. You're neglecting them. You're rejecting them. You're avoiding them. You don't love them, because if you love them, you would be doing all the things the predator's doing, but you're not. So since you're not, I love the predator, and you are the enemy. Mom, dad. That sounds crazy. It's sad yet true. Sad and true. So real quick, I'm going to give you some stats. And then if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to ask. 770-906-5271 if you want to call. 770-906-5271 if you would like to call. So I was looking up just a few of the statistics as far as I guess I noticed it. Like the age groups that predators look for or whatnot. And 20% of predators look for children who are 5 and under. Just 20% are children that are under 5. 50% is age 5 to 12. So they're looking for children between the ages of 5 and 12, and that is 50% of the predators. And then 30% look for children between the ages of 13 and 17. Um, there's also a correlation between gender and age. Didn't know that either. So, children who are 6 and below, most of the predators who attack, I'll say, children that are 6 or below the age of 6 are most likely to not have a gender preference. So they will deal with both sexes. Okay. It doesn't matter to them what it is, they just need to be of a certain age. Then the ones that prefer older victims usually prefer them to be one or the other sex. Oh, I can see. Okay, no justification, but I can see. There are, in the United States, there are 42 reported, 42 million victims of sexual assault. 42 million reported victims of sexual assault in the United States. One out of every 4 girls is a victim of sexual assault, and one out of every 6 males is a victim of sexual assault. And I want to address that. We have accepted the normalcy of girls being victims of sexual assault. Now, as fucked up as that is, that we've accepted it as normal, in that we have also disregarded the fact that males, young males, are victims of sexual assault. Because of that, that number is growing rapidly because it's not being reported. And because of the way our men, our little boys are being raised to be quiet, don't cry, don't say nothing, chalk it up, you all right. Little boys don't cry. Oh, you ain't hurt. Oh, you can't be raped by no girl. Oh, didn't nobody penetrate you. You lying, whatever. Because of all of this, they don't say anything. It continues and the cycle repeats. Please do not think because you have a child who is male that they are above being sexually assaulted. If your male child or any male child that you know of says that he has been assaulted, he has been touched in any way that he does not appreciate, that he does not like, that he does not understand, if you are told that or if there is evidence of such, do not act like you didn't hear what he said. Do not try to justify what you think happened. Do not tell him, oh, you just exaggerating. Oh, you just made that up. Oh, you lying. Why would you say? Don't do that. Do not brush that little child off like he is irrelevant. What he experienced was nothing. In doing so, you allow him, one, to continue to be victimized because that self-esteem goes right down the drain. You allow him to be victimized, and then you are also nurturing a victimizer. I'll say it again. You are causing him to continue the cycle of abuse. He will continue to either be abused or he will become the abuser. Do not brush him off because society says that that's not a normal occurrence. That doesn't usually happen. How do you think they've become? How do you think it is that most predators are male? How do you think that happens? And this is statistically written. Most predators are male. They don't just wake up from a peaceful life and say, you know what I want to be when I grow up is a predator. Yeah, that ain't how that works. It happens because something happened to them in the same fashion or similar fashion, and they were not allowed to acknowledge it. First of all, they were not allowed to speak on it. They were not allowed to heal from it. Therefore, they're going to repeat it. They're going to accept that behavior as normal, as okay. They're going to accept that behavior or use that behavior internally, which meaning they're going to accept it to the point that when they grow up, they're expecting that behavior to continue. There's an expectation. They use it as a way to secure themselves. So they no longer see themselves as a victim because now they're encouraging it. Now they're asking for it. Now they're initiating the behavior. They see it that way. I'm telling you what I know. Okay, this ain't no guessing. I'm telling you what I know. It happens because it also happens on the woman's part, on the female's part. But we have accepted that little girls are, I don't even want to say that word. Um, I'm leave it alone. We've accepted it. It's bullshit either way. Okay? Stop accepting it. More stats. Nearly, this one blew my mind. Nearly 70% of sexual offenders have 1 to 9 victims at a time. 1 to 9. 70% of sexual offenders have anywhere between 1 and 9 victims. At least 20% of sexual offenders have anywhere between 10 and 40 victims. I'll repeat that. 70% of sexual offenders have 1 to 9 victims, and at least 20% of sexual offenders have between 10 and 40 victims. If we don't do something different, we just better. Let's see. Do you all have any questions, comments, or concerns? Is there anything else that I need to go back over? I most definitely will. I will reiterate this. The importance of the father being in the home, not just stopping by every week, every other week, having the kids once every 2 weeks, being in the home and actively involved in the child or children's lives is on the list. The top, it's amongst the top on the list of factors that predators look for. If there is no father in the home, the predator is more likely to come for your child. Where there is a man, a father, actively in the home and involved in the child's or children's lives, the predator is more likely not gonna mess with that child because they do not want to book with that masculine. They don't want it. This is straight from the mouths of predators. This is based off of um, interviews or whatever surveys of over 360 predators. This is what they're saying. This is it, I think, in either 2020 or 2021. This survey is recent. This is what they are saying. If daddy's in the house, we ain't. Ain't no daddy, we coming. We showing up. I'm just saying, we got to do something. I keep expressing the importance of the presence of the man. I express the importance of the presence of the Black man in particular in the household with these children, male and female. It is vital to their growing up healthy on so many levels that that man is actively involved in the life, in the growings up, in the nurturing of, in the guidance, in the protection of the children. It's vital. What you won't do, what you don't do, what you don't find time to do, a predator will do it for you. A predator will replace you. All right, my good people. If you have no comments, and I'm surprised over here, no comments, questions, or concerns, no calls. I'm last call for the call. 770-906-5271. If anybody wants to call in, this is it. Okay, you got like 2 minutes. So if you want to call in and say something, ask a question, share, comment, or got a question or whatever, share it. Call in now. Again, if somebody would please type in this website, bjs.ojp.gov. Please type that in the comment section for me. I would greatly appreciate it. bjs.ojp.gov. So you can get the information for yourself. You can look up the stats. You can look at all the graphs. You can look at what the predators are saying. You can look at their different types of lures. It's really crazy. It is so important to have this information. What's going on, George? I appreciate you for being here, even though we about to go, but I appreciate you for showing up. But it's so vital that we have an overstanding and an understanding of the importance of the presence and active participation of the man, the father, inside the home. Predators are depending on your absence. Having said that, you all know I love you. I love you. I love you on purpose, with purpose. Make sure you share this video here. Make sure you share, like, comment, do all that, and subscribe. Okay, for those of you who are on Facebook who have not subscribed to my YouTube, please do so. It's Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. Goddess is spelled like God is, Godis. Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. Please make sure to go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and like and share, all that good stuff. Okay? I love you on purpose, with purpose. And until I see you again, peace. I see you, Veronica. Playback time. Well, peace. I'll see you later.